Directly about Donald Trump's comments caught on that 2005 Access Hollywood video. Do you agree with her comments that they should not be swept under the rug?
Well, let me say that I have tremendous respect, Chuck, for the First Lady and for her efforts on behalf of the American people over the last 7.5 years. But the simple fact is that Donald Trump made comments in an open mic 11 years ago that he's expressed deep regret for. He's embarrassed about it. He apologized last weekend to the American people and made it clear that it was just talk. And he's apologized to his family, and I accept that apology. And I truly do believe that this election is of such an enormous magnitude to the American people that it's important that we move beyond this issue. It's important that we focus on the need for a stronger America at home and abroad. And as I traveled across Florida this week and all across the country, that the people that I'm encountering are focused on those issues about really restoring this country and reviving our economy, and that's where we're going to continue to be focused.
Well, as you know, Donald Trump does not want to move off of this issue. In fact, he said he's been getting advice saying that, but instead he has been responding to every single accusation. Here's what he has said about a couple of the different accusers.
She's right. She's a liar. She is a liar. She's writing a story. Check out her Facebook page. You'll understand. I was sitting with him on an airplane, and he went after me on the plane. Yeah, I'm going to go after. Believe me, she would not be my first choice, that I can tell you. Man, you don't know. That would not be my first choice.
That was Friday, Governor Pence. You just dismissed it as just talk. We now have 9 accusers that have come out since you have said it's just talk. Do you really believe it's just talk?
I really do, Chuck. You know, what we have this week is a series of unsubstantiated allegations, and Donald Trump.
Let me stop you there. They're not unsubstantiated.
He's categorically denied.
They're not unsubstantiated.
He's categorically denied those allegations, Chuck.
You have firsthand accounts. They're unproven, but they are not unsubstantiated. You have a firsthand account. We have somebody that disagrees with that firsthand account, but they are substantiated. No.
Well, no, these are not substantiated accounts. These are people who have brought forward allegations going back, in some cases, decades. And Donald Trump has made it clear that he categorically denies that these things ever took place. But I have to tell you, it really is astonishing to most Americans that as these unsubstantiated allegations are treated with an enormous amount of coverage on this network and other networks, that revelations coming out of Secretary of State Clinton's years in the State Department and the Clinton Foundation are virtually ignored by the national media. I mean, we discovered this week that State Department officials actually directed contracts for the Haitian recovery after the earthquake to friends of the Clintons, and literally that got almost no media attention, while those that stepped forward with these unsubstantiated claims that Donald Trump has denied were treated with headline news and continuous coverage. It's one of the reasons why so many Americans feel like this election is being rigged by a national media that's constantly trying to change the subject away from and practice willful ignorance. So, Governor, we should toward the corruption and misdeeds and pay-for-play politics of the Clintons.
Let me ask you this, though. You really believe that women who believe they were victimized by sexual assault, they come out, they should be ignored? Isn't that been part of the problem with rooting out sexual assault in our culture, is that there is this feeling that women get ignored?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say anything to disparage any woman who believes they've had an experience like this. But Donald Trump's made it clear that these allegations are categorically false. And now we've had more evidence that's come out to challenge those versions of the facts. But the ignorance, the ignoring that's going on here, Chuck, is the way the national media is ignoring an avalanche of real hard evidence of corruption during the years of the Clinton administration. The New York Times just a few minutes ago posted a story about in exchange for 5 minutes with Bill Clinton, the government of Qatar was going to give $1 million to the Clinton Foundation. We know that more than half of Hillary Clinton's meetings while she was Secretary of State were given to major contributors to the Clinton Foundation. The Haitian government thing, the speeches about open borders, socialized medicine, it's getting virtually no attention in the national media.
You just cited the New York Times.
Unsubstantiated claims that have been repeatedly denied by Donald Trump are getting all the attention. And the American people see right through it, Chuck.
You just cited the New York Times, obviously not a small news organization. We've been reporting on this, front page of NBCnews.com, and we're going to be reporting on this throughout this show. But your running mate is the one that's under fire with this. Let me ask you this. For a long time, you used to refer to Donald Trump as this good man. You haven't done that this week. Any reason for that change?
Well, sure I have. Well, sure I have, Chuck. The Donald Trump I've come to know is a man who loves his family, who loves this country. He's made a connection to millions of Americans because he's given voice to the frustrations and the aspirations of the American people. I mean, when you have the president of France over this weekend say that it was because of Barack Obama's and Hillary Clinton's foreign policy of moving red lines in Syria that Russia was emboldened to invade Ukraine and take a larger role in Syria, that's really saying something. The American people know that America has been weakened at home and abroad because of the policies of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And
speaking of Russia, Governor,
change, Chuck.
You just brought up Russia. Speaking of it, I know you're getting intelligence briefings. Do you believe the American intelligence that says Russia is behind all of these hacks into former White House Chief of Staff and John Podesta, the DNC, et cetera? Do you believe the American intelligence community on this?
Well, I think there's more and more evidence that implicates Russia, and there should be serious consequences if Russia is violating the privacy and the security of the American people.
Why doesn't your running mate believe that?
And I certainly hope what the Vice President said this morning is something that they follow through on.
But let me ask you, why does your running mate not believe?
This is an administration that too often has spoken things on the foreign stage and then not followed through, like moving red lines, feigning a reset with Russia. My hope is that if the evidence does flow to Russia, that there are, in fact, serious consequences, and there should be serious consequences. But remember, this avalanche of emails,
Governor,
is not just
you're not answering this question. Why doesn't your running mate believe what you believe about a foreign government in Russia trying to hack into the American democracy?
Well, Donald Trump and I believe we should follow the facts, and America should stand strong, and we should stand up for cybersecurity. He had an entire presentation about his call for a new cybersecurity task force, bringing together some of the best minds in the country to protect America's privacy, both our intellectual and our defense infrastructure. But look, all this information is not just flowing out of the WikiLeaks. It was ABC News, a Freedom of Information request, that was able to uncover the fact that while she was Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton's staff was actually directing contracts for the Haitian recovery effort to friends of the Clintons. And with all due respect, Chuck, the national media is preoccupied with unsubstantiated claims and ignoring an avalanche of hard evidence against the Clintons.
You keep saying unsubstantiated. That is not true. You have a first-hand account. It's unproven, but they're not unsubstantiated. But let me ask you this final question on this, which is, if Bill Kristol today, earlier this week, tweeted, at what point are you going to feel uncomfortable defending Donald Trump? He said, given that he's now been utterly humiliated by the Trump campaign, does Mike Pence have the self-respect to resign from the ticket? How do you respond to Bill Kristol?
You know, I accepted the invitation to run for Vice President of the United States, Chuck, because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. And I think Donald Trump has articulated a vision to make America great again that's connected with millions of Americans, despite the obvious bias in the national media and the avalanche of daily attacks against Donald Trump. I have to tell you, even this week, the crowds that I saw here in Florida, the crowds he had in New Hampshire and Maine yesterday, all attest to the fact the American people want change. And for me and for my little family, we're going to continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with this man and fight all the way through Election Day and deliver a great victory for America, and we're going to make America great again.
Will you accept the results of the election?
We will absolutely accept the results of the election. Look, the American people will speak in an election that will culminate on November the 8th. But the American people are tired of the obvious bias in the national media. That's where the sense of a rigged election goes here, Chuck, is that when the media comes in with an avalanche of continuous negative attacks against my running mate, instead of focusing on the real hard evidence coming out about corruption and pay-to-play in the Clinton Foundation years, it's why people are frustrated. But look, we'll fight our way through to November the 8th, and we'll accept the will of the American people, you bet.
Governor, you keep saying rigged election. Are you concerned that the more you say it, the more you actually undermine our democracy unintentionally?
Oh, look, well, one of the great traditions of America is the peaceful transfer of power. And elections, Chuck, you know, you're a student of history. Elections always get pretty rough. I expect they're going to stay just as rough as they are right now going into November the 8th. The stakes are so high in this election. But as Donald Trump said in that first debate, I'll say to you again today, we're going to accept the will of the American people. But between now and Election Day, we're going to work our hearts out against all odds, against most of you in the national media. Well, we're going to go lay out a story for a stronger, more prosperous America.
I understand why you want to continue to attack us, but I think it's misguided attacks there. I understand. Governor Mike Pence, I appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you, sir.